hello there. Go ahead and tell us your name and the bank you're with.
Mitch Wilkins with Arvest Bank.
Okay, it sounds like we're talking about credit cards and traveling. Um, you know what? I'll give a little personal experience. This was last summer. I went to Los Angeles for a conference. I just landed at the airport, LAX, and I'm a Missouri girl, so it was all very foreign. I don't travel that much, so I was overwhelmed just trying to get myself an Uber. While trying to download the app, figuring out an Uber, I get a call from my credit card company asking if it was really me trying to get the Uber. I did not tell my bank, I did not tell my credit card that I was traveling. Oops, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely some good advice there, Ashley. You definitely, anytime you travel out of the local area that you're in, you're going to want to notify your bank, any credit cards you plan on using, especially if you're going international, of that travel so that you're right. So you don't get declined when you're trying to use it. Especially people don't carry cash a lot these days. And so really, it's a card centric world that we live in now. So we definitely don't want those declined. Also, especially if you're traveling international again, you're going to want to make sure that they accept that provider of that card. The last thing you want is to get out there and be stranded, right?
Sounds horrible. Oh my gosh. I mean, like in a few minutes, I took care of it. And frankly, I appreciated the phone call, at the end of the day, because it meant they were keeping tabs on it. So
that's right.
So before you travel and leave, do you just call the number on the back of your card?
It's a good place to start. Yeah, that they'll direct you if they can't, but usually the customer service number is the best place to contact.
Okay. Tell us more credit card and travel advice. I know my parents love the points and it pays for some of their trips.
Yeah, I know personally, my wife and I don't think we paid for a flight for our last 5 flights. So the points can definitely add up if you use them appropriately. Save them up, whether it's miles or cash back or just those travel points. Another benefit that not a lot of people know about is a lot of the credit cards offer like a roadside assistance piece to it. So if you ever get stranded, flat tire, something like that, they may be able to help you, as well as TSA pre-check or global reentry reimbursement. So just something to make it easier when you travel.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that. I feel like we did a story on this, I don't know, a couple years ago, but there's some credit card perks that will take care of like your car rental insurance or something. Like there's just some cool perks there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, every credit card is going to be different. So it would be worth checking into all the rewards and benefits that they offer, especially if you are a frequent traveler. You might be missing out on a lot of those rewards, a lot of cash back, and it definitely can add up.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do, and I know this isn't necessarily travel, but when it comes to credit card points, I like to take my points and then put it in my Roth IRA because I feel like it's free money and then it's growing free money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Never thought about doing that, but
like it's not that much money because I don't spend a lot, but it's just kind of a cool concept of like, I literally didn't put anything out of my pocket necessarily into that Roth IRA.
Right.
But so tell me about your travels though. You said the last 5 flights?
I think so. Let's see, a couple of years ago, we went to Seattle, had that flight paid for. We went to Washington, D.C., that flight paid for. We're using 2 coming up. My wife is going to Louisville, and she's got that flight paid for, as well as we're visiting some friends in Bismarck, North Dakota. And some of those, obscure places, the flights are a little more expensive, and so it's nice to have some of that covered.
Is that exclusively how you use your points, or do you do other things with your credit card points?
Um, we really pour it back into travel because that's something that we like to do. We have a couple of cards that give you a little bit more, like 3% on dining, 3% on hotel or grocery stores, which is a little bit more than your typical 1%. And so for where we're spending our money in a lot of places, we feel like that's a good way to get some cash back
We
since we're
should.
already spending it. One thing too, Ashley, I want to point out, I always advise a lot of my clients to really use their credit card versus their debit card whenever they travel. Strictly because if they do encounter some fraud situation, it's not their money out of their account that's being used by those bad people. And a lot of the credit card companies, they have kind of a zero fraud liability process. And so if you call and report that as soon as possible, they're going to make sure that that gets taken care of and either reimbursed or credited back to you while they investigate. But you're not out that money that you've worked hard to to have. So
Yeah. Oh, good advice. Well, hey, thank
yeah,
you so much for your time.
yeah. Thank you, Ashley.